Yo, what's up, guys? This is D Brown with Trackheads. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Trackheads. So, I just got finished watching the Masai Russell. She just released something on her YouTube channel, a nice little behind the scenes, almost like a vlog documentary style situation of just basically showing the training and showing, her thoughts before as she was going from Olympic trials victory to the Olympic Games. And I just wanted to really like list a couple things that I really noticed that I feel like were huge factors into her success in the Olympic Games, right? Because the 100-meter hurdles are a crazy event. We're so deep in the United States. She beat a lot of veterans in the style that, I mean, even in my prediction video that I had for the Olympic trials, I had her as making it, I think either top three or a dark horse or whatever the case is. But the way that in the style that how she ran it, I mean, the way that she ran from hurdle 6 to 10 was so impressive. I've never seen anything like that. Alicia Johnson was probably a close second in terms of just the style, like the separation from 6 to 10, the changing of gears. It was just so impressive to me. And I definitely had her as my number one pick going into the Olympic Games. To really see her journey and see how the certain things that I noticed that made her really great, I just wanted to highlight because I think that's really dope. She's someone I've been watching, and a lot of people that run track, especially if you were running track in college in 2015, 16, 17, and you heard about this girl and her showing her vlog styled videos on YouTube, and it's really cool to see a person of color do that as well, because we didn't really have many people of color doing that. Now it's a dime a dozen, but back then we didn't really see that kind of level, especially as a black female. We didn't really see that quality of training and everything like that. So let's get on to it. The first thing that I really noticed is that she has a lot of support. She has a lot of family support. She has a lot of with her relationship with her boyfriend. She has a lot of support there. Family support, mom and dad, siblings, coach support. She is always surrounded by support. And I think that's really, really dope, because the hardest thing, and I can testify being a track and field athlete and trying to do the post-collegiate thing, it could be difficult when you don't have support. And that could be financial support, that can be family support, that can be any kind of support that can serve as a cloud to lift you and make you feel great as you're embarking on the journey that you're embarking on. So it's really refreshing to see that she had really great support. Her coach was there to support her as she was training through, because she had to train while she was at the Paris Olympics. So she showed videos of her training by herself, training with her coach. It was just really dope to see that level of support. Like I said, her parents even went. I mean, it looked like they had a whole crew. Siblings were there. And when she won, you could just see the level of satisfaction, the level of joy that her family had seeing her win, right? And a lot of people think that's just an assumption. Like, that's just something that is just a given. No, there's a lot of people don't have their parents and they don't have their support system come to a lot of these things. They don't, it's just either they don't have it or it just doesn't happen. So it was really cool to really see that. The second thing I really noticed, and now we get to like the technical part of her video, is that, I've never really considered, I used to consider it back when I was in college, and, I used to check my weight and see how much I weighed, and, the whole concept of power to weight ratios was really, really important, especially if you're a sprinter, even like distance runners. That's how a lot of people were measuring if they were in the proper weight, or if they wanted to see what they had to squat. Usually 2 to 3 times your body weight was a good indicator if you're a sprinter. But I never considered how small she was. Usually, on video, the camera adds a couple inches to you, adds a couple pounds to you. And I always consider her a very wiry athlete, right? Someone who had very low body weight. And when I make these body comments, it isn't like I'm not saying it in like a salacious way, more so just in a science physics way, right? Your weight is your weight. And one of the things I noticed that when she weighed herself, she was like 120, 119. I never considered how small that was. I train a lot of athletes, and 119 is little. 119 is small. But when you look at her, she's very lean, very she doesn't come off as like super skinny. Like, you could tell she's powerful. You could tell she's an athlete. You could tell she's in the peak condition. But I never considered how that looked on the scale. And to see that she was 119, and in previous videos I've seen her deadlift over 300 pounds. That is crazy to me. I mean, she's damn near, that has the ability to deadlift and squat probably over three times her body weight. That's impressive as a 119, 120 pound hurdler who's elastic, who's flexible, who has coordination, who has the ability to hit ranges of motion that are beyond the traditional athlete. That's really, really impressive. She doesn't have bulky muscle from what I see. Um, she has the ability to again just express ranges of motions that are really, really impressive for her size and for her weight. So that was one thing that I really saw that went into making her Olympic champion, because you can have someone who's 140, 145, and they carry that, they have that extra power, and they're able to probably even lift more than her, right? But when you break down the math, and maybe, if someone's 140 and they're lifting 300 versus someone who's 120 and they're lifting 300, the ratio is a little bit different if everything is considered equal. For every step that they produce, assuming that lift transfers into power, for every time they put their foot on the ground, they are able to displace off that ground another 2-3 inches. Their stride's a little bit bigger because they have greater ranges of motion. It takes less energy to move from one step to the next one, from one hurdle to the next one. They can move their limbs a lot faster. So it's just really impressive to see that kind of power to weight ratio, right? The last thing that I really noticed was that the fact that, she came from University of Kentucky, where her workload was crazy. She had the 100-meter hurdles, 400-meter hurdles, 4x1, 4x4, and she ran them all pretty elite. In 2021, she was able to compete in the 400-meter hurdles, and I mean, her PR is like what, high 54, low 55. Like, that's a pretty great time. And if you know anything about the 400-meter hurdles, I compete in the 400-meter hurdles. It's not just speed that you need. It's coordination, it's strength, it's aerobic strength, it's anaerobic strength. Like, her energy systems, I think, are one of the key factors that played a part in her success in the 100-meter hurdles. Because to have the workload and the work capacity to handle speed work of the 4x1 and the 100-meter hurdles and be elite in those, and then be able to have the strength to finish the 400-meter hurdles at a pretty elite time. She got second place in the SEC behind Britton Wilson. And Britton Wilson at that particular time was basically top in the world. She broke the collegiate record in the 400 meters, and she was attempting the 400 meters and the 400-meter hurdles double, and for NCAAs at the time. And she completed in the SECs. Like, that was really impressive. So we can't underestimate that. At the same time, for her to be able to have that capacity and then bring it down. I mean, one thing I can say is that when you have that strength from the 4x4 and the 400-meter hurdles, and you bring it down to shorter events, and you improve some of those qualities of your sprinting ability, your first 30, your explosiveness, your power, your all those things, no one's going to be able, as long as you set up your race model properly, her energy system supports her race model, which is why I believe she's able to switch gears, at least the way it looks, from hurdle 6 to hurdle 10. She's able to hold that velocity all the way through. And you can kind of compare that to like Devin Charlton, who can kill the first 6 hurdles, right? She's the 60-meter world record holder. Her first 4, 5, 6 hurdles that she sets up are great. But I don't think her energy system and the way that she does her race modeling can support hurdle 7, 8, 9, 10 to maintain that velocity to run a world record right now, based on what I see. So I think her energy systems and her abilities to run so many events in high school carried over to the professional side and serves as a base for her to run her 100-meter hurdles and be in shape for that. Because a lot of people don't realize, like, the 100-meter hurdles are similar to like the 200. You have to have strength for it. You have to do those 350s, 250s for your strength work, fast 150s. And I believe she has the ability to do that because the 400-meter hurdles was one of her events. The 4x4 was one of her events. She was splitting like 50, 51, in those open, in the 400-meter dash. So really, really impressive stuff. Really, really talented athlete. And I'm glad that she was able to release that video, because we need to see that. We need to see the talent and the behind the scenes work of some of these athletes. And we don't always have to see it through ABC, and we don't always have to see it through flow track or whatever. Like, we can have the creative ability to really show this is the work that went into, even if it's after the actual result. We don't need to be with you every step of the way, but it'll be great for athletes and people of the sport who really support with their views and their eyeballs to really say, like, hey, this is what it takes for her to get to this position. This is how she ran 12.2 to win. This is how she became the world number 1, because she put in this work when no one was watching or when people were watching. So I want to thank you guys for watching. This is D Brown with Trackheads. And that's my 2 cents about Masai Russell's video that she released after she became an Olympic champion. Peace.